All right, let's try this again. I'm Gabriel, you're watching Drum Tip Tuesday, and welcome into this lesson about how to warm up those hands before the gig, as you're getting started practice, whatever it is. Might do a series on this, so this might be just number one, but one way or the other, we're going to cover singles today. We're going to take from an old exercise, an old drumline exercise called 8 on a hand, and I know this is going to start kind of slow, but stick with me. It's going to get better. All it is, 8/8 notes on a hand, right hand, left hand, wash, rinse, repeat. Let's set a tempo and do it. Real simple, right? But what we're going to do is warm up our singles. And to make our practice or our warm-up a little more efficient, we're going to just put that right into the exercise. We're going to put singles right into that. We're going to make sure that it goes from one hand to the other without having to stop. The way we're going to do that is play 8/8 notes on the right hand, 8/8 notes on the left hand, 16th notes off the left, because you already have that going on the 8th note rate. It's going to add the right hand to that, right? 16th notes on the left, left hand still going. 8th notes on the left, 8th notes on the right, 16th notes off the right. Hand alone, alternating, hand alone, alternating. Also, you're noticing that I'm playing to the sky. I'm looking at myself play there. I can tell I'm just like really skying it. The idea with this is to use the drum pad, a piece of rubber strapped to a heavy piece of wood, to kind of like beat hell out of the thing to warm up your hands. I don't hit the drums necessarily like this all the time. It's just good warm up. It's a muscular warm up. Good for the muscles in the fingers, wrists, hands, get a lot of blood flowing in there. That's what you're looking at. Now, we want to make this faster, but we don't want to have to stop to reset the metronome. Remember, you're just warming up real quick. So what we're going to do is utilize a more complete rhythm scale to just kind of move things along. We're going to work our way up from playing the one hand at a time part with 8th notes and the alternating with 16th notes, all the way up to playing the one hand at a time part as 16th notes and playing the alternating as 32nd notes. And you're going to wonder how we're going to do that. You're going to have to start to think of ratios, all right, rather than the note values that we go by, because we cut those in half times, but we need a more smooth transition. You don't want to go right from 8ths and 16ths to 16ths and 32nd notes. That's no good. That's no warm-up. So what we're going to want to do is put triplets in there, right? That's good, but it's not good enough. We're going to be a little more complete. We're going to put 5s and 7s in there. We're going to take 2 beats at a time and start thinking of that. When you're doing 2 beats at a time, you're going to play 4 8th notes over it. To speed up to 5s, 5lets, you're going to have to think of 5 notes over 2 quarter notes. And then when you alternate, you're playing the 5lets, right? Then think of 3 notes over 2 quarter notes, and then you're playing 6s as you're alternating. Same thing with the 7s, and then when you get to 8s, those are your 16th notes on one hand and alternating 32nd notes. Check this out. The 5s. Now you say it's kind of weird. You just have to set yourself up with a little exercise in order to develop that at first. If you've done this kind of thing before, you don't need this, but if you haven't, here you go. Go back and forth between the eighth notes, standard eighth notes, or your 4 notes per quarter note for every 2 quarter notes, and your 5 notes for every 2 quarter notes. It should sound like this. Eighth notes, 5s, eighth notes, 5s, you just go back and forth, or whatever you do to assimilate the feel of that 5 notes for every 2 quarter notes. The next one, 6s. This is easy. Triplets on each hand, and then you alternate them to get your 6s. Let's take a listen. On to 7s. Now 7s are kind of weird, and then I think everybody's going to do this in their fashion, in their own way. When I'm doing this, I tend to think of sets of 2s and 3s. I start to go to that thing where, you know, if you're working out a whole bar of odd meter, or you're playing in 7, you're thinking of 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 3, or 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2. I tend to default to 2 sets of 2 and 1 group of 3. I don't know, it's just something that I've always done. As soon as I wanted to put 7 over 2 quarter notes, it made sense to me to do that. Whatever headspace that you get into, it sounds like this. Of course, you got to be paying attention to what you're doing to start it off right, which I didn't quite do there, but we caught up. Anyway, moving on to the 8s. This one is easier on the head. It's a little harder on the hands. Remember, this is your goal tempo, so a little bit of finger action there. Never hurt anybody. Let's give that a shot. All right, if you don't get it the first time, try again. Anyways, let's get it all together. So when you warm up, it's going to sound something like this. All right, you're going to start where we started with just eighth notes. In other words, 4s, then 5s, 6s, 7s, and then on up to 8s, or at our goal tempo. And you just kind of do it until you feel ready to go on to the next grouping. And if you feel like it was too fast, you can kind of go back. But a whole practice routine with that should only take a couple minutes, and it should get your hands nice and warm. I'm going to play that as we go out. And if you like this kind of thing, remember to like it, subscribe. I'm Gabriel. You've been watching Drum Tip Tuesday. Let's check out this exercise. Anyways, there you go. And the camera shut off.